Picture this. The stadium's lights dim on a preseason showdown. A tight game, the crowd's pulse riding the edge, and then suddenly silence crashes down. Not from a last-second miracle, not from a bone-crushing turnover, but from something way heavier. Tension floods Mercedes-Benz Stadium like a cold Detroit wind, and everyone's eyes fix on one man down motionless, guarded not just by medics, but by the very core of what this sport means: respect, fear, brotherhood. You feel it, right? That raw Detroit grit creeping in, tightening its grip on our hearts. And in those moments, you lean across the bar and whisper, "Something big is moving." Wait till you hear this. This isn't just another preseason bump. No, it's the kind of injury that shakes a locker room to its bones, the kind that makes you check your phone again, searching for a good sign, a joke, some sign of life. If you were scrolling Saturday morning, maybe you caught it. Morris Norris, our young lion, flashing a grin over FaceTime, chuckling back at a teammate's words. Amen, I'm all good, man, don't stress it." He posted like a warrior, brushing off battle scars with a wink. But here's where it tilts Norris. The undrafted corner who clawed his way from Fresno State's dusty fields to the Motor City Gridiron is still in concussion protocol. And Dan Campbell? He's dialing it back, saying the next 10 to 14 days will be about easing him slowly back into the chaos. You get that? This is Detroit football, not just about bodies and stats, but about moments that echo like the great memories of George the Diesel, Wilson scrapping through secondary packs, or last season's Gridiron wildcard chargeware. Grit mattered more than fame. It's not just about the guy who's down. It's about the shaking tower of our defense. Norris? He's fresh off a season where he flashed real promise. Not a lockdown shutdown yet, but those gritty press coverage. Snaps where he racked up pressures and forced quick decisions. We're talking about a corner who, in a defense that's heavy on physicality under coordinator Ben Johnson, fits like a glove. This offense-lethargic NFL world still demands corners who can match two-gap responsibilities, crash down on runs, and shadow receivers deep into the fourth quarter. Norris gives us that blend, speed, agility, and that nasty edge we didn't always have back there. And now, his absence, even if temporary, leaves a fissure. On the depth chart, Terrion Arnold suddenly isn't just the rookie buzzbutt. The guy who has to stretch his snaps, upping his game from chess piece to frontline warrior. Meanwhile, that ripple spreads. Veterans pulling double duty, special teams adjusted, and Dan Campbell's defensive gambits clip just enough to make. You lean in closer? Remember Caldwell's era? The late game fades, plays left to chance. That's exactly what no one wants here. Not with the cap in flux and the off-season hustle still fresh. Norris signed on as a bargain undrafted gem with seriously good upside. A low cap hit, but a high trust factor, and that's a special kind of headache for the coaching staff. But take a beat, imagine this locker room scene. The silence cuts through the usual ribbing when one young line looks at another and cracks this line. Hey, if I go down, at least make sure nobody steals my post-practice pizza slice. Morris Norris going down in ambulance was scarier than a last minute Hail Mary in snowy Ford Field, but the kids back smiling. POSTING positive vibes, and sending one clear signal. Detroit's heart doesn't quit. And if you've ever tailgated through those Michigan winters, the biting cold, the steaming hot dogs, the bloodshot eyes fueled by hope and bourbon, you know this feeling. It's not just football. It's survival, rally, and pride stitched into every down. So when Morris and Campbell decide mid-game that finishing feels wrong, that's respect. Not just to a player, but to something bigger than all of us, the soul of Detroit. So here's the cliffhanger. What does Morris Norris' slow return mean for our defensive posture against the league's pass-heavy juggernauts? Can Arnold step up without giving away too much on the edges? How will this scramble affect the Lions' cap room and draft board, especially with tournament whispers about new secondary targets? And beyond that, Who exactly is ready to seize the snaps that Norris will inevitably vacate? One thing's for sure, the battle for this Lions spot isn't just cutthroat, it's Detroit sacred. Because in this city, every injury is a story. Every snap is a war, and every comeback, well, that's a legend waiting to be told. And if you thought Friday night's scare was the end, just wait. We're nowhere near the final whistle. The real play, the one that cuts deep and echoes long, is just beginning. This is Detroit, where every scar tells a story and every grit-spilled moment shapes champions. So listen up, because what's happening now isn't just a game. It's a declaration that our Lions roar isn't silenced by one fallen comrade. It's amplified, even if it means shifting everything. Norris's injury, confirmed by insiders as potentially being more than just a concussion, perhaps a shoulder, or knee tweak that could keep him out weeks, maybe longer, depending on how deep the MRI dives cast a shadow over our youthful secondary depth, forcing Coach Campbell and defensive coordinator Ben Johnson to scramble for solutions. With Norris trending toward being sidelined, it's not just about plugging him into the rotation. It's about rethinking our entire defensive approach, especially under the league's increasingly pass-heavy schemes where slot receivers and deep threats thrive on lapses and miscommunications. Arnold suddenly thrust into the spotlight. Rookie whose raw talent, while promising, is still untested at this level, becomes the linchpin for our defensive hopes. But that's not the only ripple. Veterans like Jerry Jacobs, known for big plays, but also costly penalties, will need to double down, and the coaches, with cap space still limited and a roster season ready but flexible, are eyeing potential trades or cut downs, particularly after the recent contract adjustments and practice squad rules that favor more flexible, younger talent. Remember, this franchise's close calls, like that 0-16 season or the heartbreak of the wild card loss, are etched in our DNA, fueling every decision from draft day to game night. We've seen the fall of legends like Barry Sanders battling injuries and the heartbreak of playoff fumbles at the goal line, so this current crisis, it's just more fuel for our fire. Morris Norris, an undrafted gem, signaled resilience with that FaceTime post, appearing unworried, even joking about pizza. It's classic Norris, a kid with a Warriors mentality, yet now the locker rooms. Mood hangs on his recovery, as if his fate can sway the entire defense's confidence, especially with season-opening NFC North showdowns looming. Packers, Vikings, Bears each capitalizing on Detroit's vulnerability. Now, imagine the coaching staff's chess game. Do they lean more into zone coverages to hide vulnerabilities, or gamble with aggressive man-on-man, knowing they'll need that hero edge for late-game stops? With Norris's cap hit only around $800K, making him a steal, their hands are tied, yet their minds are racing. And behind closed doors, whispers swirl about unexpected secondary targets, perhaps a veteran free agent lurking or an intriguing rookie alternative, because they know this isn't just a rebuild. It's a pride war, a test of will, and a quest to restore that feeling of hope and grit that's built Detroit for generations. In those moments of silence, when the city's blood, sweat, and tears are pooling in the locker room, it all comes back. The legends, the heartbreaks, the spirit that never dies. Because if we've learned anything from Caldwell's late-game collapses to last season's wild-card heartbreak, it's that in Detroit, the fight isn't over until the last whistle blares, and this injury purely stokes the fires of our comeback story. The question pounding in every Lion's chest now isn't just about who steps up next, or how we handle the league's aerial juggernauts. It's whether this injury, this crisis, will be the spark that pushes us beyond limits we never knew we had, or if it's simply the storm before the fall. But here's the kicker. As the locker room buzzed with anxious energy, Campbell's eyes hardened and an unspoken truth settled in. If Norris's absence becomes a sign of the cracks in our armor, it's not just about next game. It's about whether Detroit still believes in the impossible. Because in this city, every injury sparks a fight that echoes deeper than football, an unbreakable spirit that says we never quit, not in the face of adversity, not after our dark, snowy days when the only thing brighter than the stadium lights is our unyielding pride. And if that's true, then the real question no longer is about who replaces Norris or what cap space we have left. It's whether we're ready to answer the call that every true Detroit Lion hears, to rise from the ashes, redefine resilience, and remind the league our league that even in the darkest hours, the Lion's roar still reverberates, loud and defiant, fueling legends, igniting hope, and sealing our next chapter, because the next move isn't just tactical. It's craved into every fiber of the city's soul, waiting for that moment when the next player steps into the limelight and turns adversity into victory. Because in Detroit, we don't just play football, we birth legends. And this injury? Well, it's just the opening act.